Now, the first player on this list is a man who needs no introduction here in Broncos country. He is only the greatest defender in the history of our franchise, Super Bowl 50 MVP, the NFL's active leader in sacks with 114 and a half, future first ballot Hall of Famer, that's right folks, Von Miller himself. Now that we have secured our franchise quarterback, the door for Von to return to the Broncos has swung more wide open than it already was. Von, of course, was traded to the Los Angeles Rams at the 2021 trade deadline in exchange for 2022 second and third round draft picks, which became the 64th and 96th pick respectively. The Rams successfully went all in to win a championship in the 2021 season, mortgaging their future in the process, having traded their first, second, and third round picks in the 2022 draft for Matthew Stafford and Von Miller, along with the mid-season signing of wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. after he was released from the Cleveland Browns. It is a very similar model that the Broncos will look to follow after acquiring Russell Wilson. Now, Miller played in 15 regular season games for the Broncos and Rams in 2021, where he registered 50 total tackles, 17 QB hits, and 9.5 sacks. In the postseason with the Los Angeles Rams, Miller showed flashes of his 2015 postseason, registering 14 total tackles, combined with 6 quarterback hits and 4 sacks en route to his second Super Bowl championship. Now that Von has won his second ring, he is scheduled to hit free agency for the first time in his career on March 16th. On March 7th, the day before the Wilson trade was announced, Miller made multiple posts on social media indicating his continued loyalty to the Denver Broncos and possibly hinting at his desire at a reunion. The top 2 photos Von posted on his Instagram story with the captions, "I wonder if they will give me my old locker back," and 58 or 40 in the orange and blue. He then posted on Twitter, "I kinda want that old thing back, 5280, in reference to the Mile High City, of course." Von then went on to post this video on his Instagram story.
Man, y'all stop that, man. I wouldn't tease y'all like that, man. I wouldn't tease y'all like that, man. It's real, man. First time I ever been free agent, man. And I'm just sitting back on the beach, man, waiting on it, man. Broncos country, what's up?
I think it's very clear that Von is sending a message to the Broncos front office that he would love to come back to Denver. And this may be something beyond football for Von as well. Von's son is still in Denver, and Von has said that it's been tough for him being away from his son while in LA. I definitely feel that that would be a major factor should Von decide to come back. Of course, it takes 2 to tango. The Broncos do have money to spend, sitting at around $24 million in cap space after the Russell Wilson trade. According to Pro Football Focus, Von is scheduled to make $17 million next season on the open market. That being said, I'm not sure if money is the main motivation for Von. He and his family are already set for life between his previous NFL money and his endorsement deals. Of course, Von is going to want to be fairly compensated for his services, but I do see a scenario where Von would take a bit of a hometown discount to return to Denver to compete for another ring, as well as be closer to his son. I could see Von being perfectly content taking an $11 to $12 million deal to sign with the Broncos. At this point in his career, I feel like it's more about comfort for Von and being where he wants to be than it is about money. Now, edge rusher is the biggest need for the Broncos. They do have money to spend, and Von is the best available edge rusher on the market. Von does want to come home, and he does have some level of familiarity with new Broncos defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero, who was the Rams' secondary coach and passing game coordinator last season. The reunion makes sense for both parties. While Von is prepared to test the open market and potentially return to the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Rams are also prepared to make an offer to keep Von in Los Angeles. And Von has expressed that he is open to returning to LA. The Rams are going to have some salary cap freed up this offseason as the remaining dead money from the Jared Goff and Todd Gurley contracts will be off their books, and ultimately I feel like Von Miller will be playing with one of 2 teams next season, and that's either the Denver Broncos or the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams appear to be making a strong effort to keep the band back together and try to go on another championship run. They're going to make a really strong push to re-sign guys like Von Miller and Odell Beckham Jr., and who knows, the Rams may make Von an offer that he can't refuse. Or perhaps Vaughn just desperately wants to be closer to his son and he wants to return to Denver and win the city that he calls home another championship, and perhaps he's going to do everything in his power to return to the Mile High City. How would you feel about Von Miller returning to the Denver Broncos, Broncos country? Do you feel the Broncos should look towards a familiar face to fill the void at edge rusher? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. The Russell Wilson trade only makes the reunion make even more sense, and if the Broncos do re-sign Von Miller, then George Paton will have acquired second and third round draft picks for the Rams in exchange for a half-year rental of Von Miller for a championship run. And if Paton pulls that off, quite frankly, he deserves Executive of the Year before the season even starts.